Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call the regular council public hearing meeting to order and start off the meeting with the adoption of various minutes. All those in favor, opposed, carried.
Council and Committee, April 24th.
All those in favor, opposed, carried.
Move minutes be adopted. Regular council for land use, April 24th.
Second.
All those in favor, opposed, carried.
Move minutes be adopted. Regular council for public hearing, April 24th.
Second.
All those in favor, opposed, carried. And first up this evening, we have a delegation, Mr. Shannon Claypool. Shannon, it's good to see you again. And you are with Jerry Spielmacher, the treasurer of the Cloverdale Exhibition Association. Jerry?
Good evening, Madam Mayor.
Good evening.
I'd like to also introduce the new sheriff in town because many of you know Penny Smythe stepped down off of our board and she's continuing to volunteer. But Rich Kitis, this gentleman over here with Jerry, is what I call the new sheriff in town as the rodeo chairman. And he happens to be a retired Vancouver City policeman, so he is the new sheriff in town.
We welcome the new sheriff.
So we got a little bit of fun happening here in about a week and a half. 129th Country Fair, our 71st rodeo, kicks off on Thursday night with the bed races, and we got 4 days of fun. Fireworks on Friday night, you name it. We got 5 rodeo performances, $10,000 given away in the World Freestyle Skateboard Roundup, and we invite everybody to come out and have some fun at our party.
Thank you. We're certainly looking forward to it, and I know that every year we go, it just gets bigger and better. So,
and we have 4 days of sun ordered, and there is no local playoff hockey to worry about. So, you know, our crowd's going to be good, and we just want everybody to come out and have a good time.
We're all going to be there to enjoy the long weekend in May.
We have a little gift for you here. My 2 counterparts will come up and give you guys these little gifts.
Thank you.
The nice thing about our event, it is totally family friendly. Kids 12 and under are free into the rodeo, onto the grounds, and we've found that we sell out almost every rodeo performance now. So we are the best place and the only place to be, and as my friend Bill Reed used to say, Cloverdale is the center of the universe.
Well, we're looking forward to the whole weekend, and we'll be at the parade for sure on the Saturday morning.
Thank you.
Thank you, Clayton. Shannon. Oh. Thank you. That's awesome.
Okay.
Where's the cooler?
I'm the only member of council where
I know, we did notice. And for the 2
Group shot
I'm in.
with our glass slippers.
You're ready. I'm ready, man.
Okay, let's take your glass slippers.
We bring our glass slippers.
It's all good.
We'll do that now.
Whenever you like.
Crystal Pride. After the mayor's report, then I'll speak to you. Thank you, Madam Clerk. We'll now carry on with the business of the evening and go into the public hearing portion of the agenda, please, with bylaw number 1.
The first bylaw is zoning amendment bylaw 19235. The address is 8656 and 8660 164th Street. The applicants are Amninder, Naveed, Dilba, and Manjeet Randhawa. The applicants seeking to rezone the site from 1 acre residential to comprehensive development. The applicants are proposing to subdivide the site into 4 small suburban lots. The existing houses will be retained on proposed lots 1 and 2. In addition, a development variance permit is being sought to reduce the south side yard setback on proposed lot 2 from 3 meters or 10 feet to 6 feet in order to retain the existing house.
We have a letter of support and one in opposition on table, and I have one person signed up to speak to this bylaw tonight, Carol Morris. If you could give your address, please, to the city clerk.
16411 86A Avenue, and my name is Carol Morris, and we're right behind the rancher, the lot that was, they want to make a variance there, quite close to our fence. And we're in total disagreement with this because we feel that we had knowledge in 1991, when we first purchased the property, that all of this area from 88th Avenue right to the other side of our street, 86A Avenue, was all going to be half-acre gross density. And all the other houses that are on 86B there are all half-acre except for the ones that this property person wants to rezone. And so I don't know why people who have desired to live in an area where there would be quietness, peacefulness, and a nice view, why we should be subjected to something like this from our neighbors. Also, the neighbor that is has got the lot right on the corner of 86B and 164th. Their property has got lots of rats on it, and we're not in favor of that. There seems to be a lot of pileup of debris on his property, and it's intimidating the rest of the neighbors that are on our street because the rats are coming over to our street. And of course, what's going to happen once he starts to subdivide again with these rats? And also chickens on the street. And I didn't think our area was allowed to have them. So we're really very upset with all of this, and it's been going on for a fair amount of time about this rezoning, and I believe the neighbor is just endeavoring to intimidate or to cause friction in the area with the rest of the neighbors.
Okay, thank you for your comments, and we'll take under advisement that notification of a rat problem in that area as well. Thank you.
Our view is really quite beautiful. We had a view of all the North Shore mountains from basically Coquitlam right around to Maple Ridge and the Golden Ears Park, and now the house where the owner that lives on the corner of 86B and 164th, he built such a high house. It's blocked our view tremendously, and we look out our window and we see a brown wall, just brown, and it looks terrible. I'd like to show a picture if I could, but I don't think I can do it with my iPad right now. But
and is it relative to the application in front of us tonight?
Yes.
It's it's on that property?
The house, yes, that he wants to, he's got that lot, he wants to make it smaller. He wants to make his lot, his 2 lots that he's got there, and the one next to it, he wants to make them into 4 lots. And all the rest of them are all half-acre acres. And so there's 3 half-acre lots there.
And he'll maintain the house that is troublesome to you?
Well, I don't know. We don't know if that will be the case or not. So there's, I don't know if I can say anything else, but whatever the situation is, I feel that there's been little or no consideration for any of the neighbors on 86A, and I have other letters, people that have signed up and said that they were in agreement with my letter I wrote in, and also the last council meeting concerning this, Ron Coombs had commented about it, and he's since moved because he was able to sell his property there. But he also was in disagreement with this because of his view being impeached and also other circumstances with the traffic in the area.
Do you have a petition there with you that you wish to turn in?
The letter that I had written, the one owner, Mr. Sakuti, he signed it, and the Parmars were, they said they would sign the letter too, but they had to go and take their children somewhere to a school function or something, and so they weren't able to get it over to me.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
Thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else wishing to speak to this bylaw this evening? Bylaw 1 on the agenda. Madam Clerk, next bylaw, please.
Next bylaw is zoning amendment bylaw 19231. The address is 6029 128A Street. The applicants are Jaginder and Harjeet Hare. The applicants are seeking to rezone the property from 1 acre residential to single-family residential 10. The applicant's proposing to subdivide the property into 2 single-family small lots.
I don't have any correspondence on table, nor do we have anyone signed up for this particular bylaw. Is there anyone wishing to speak to bylaw 2 tonight? Madam Clerk, next bylaw.
Next bylaw is zoning amendment bylaw 19236. The addresses are 5913 and 5927 128th Street. The applicants are 1025211 BC Limited. The applicant is seeking to rezone the site from 1 acre residential to single-family residential 10 and single-family residential 13. The applicant is proposing to subdivide the site into 16 single-family lots, 6 RF10s and 10 RF13s.
We don't have correspondence on table. We have 3 people who have signed up in favor of this bylaw, not wishing to speak, and 1 person in opposition wishing to speak, and that is Shelley Schwehart.
Hi there.
Good evening.
My name is Shelley Schweikart. Let me put my glasses on. I own the property, the large portion at 12737. So the 2 development lots are on the very back portion of my farm. And mostly my concerns, I'm not so much against development. I'm really concerned because it's a very, very treed area. And the roots and whatnot from the trees, I'm really concerned about the foundation to the house. Ripping out the patios.
Your house?
To my house.
Property? Okay.
Like, if you look at this one drawing here, it sort of shows where my house is, where it says park. I was hoping someone could put up the drawing of what trees would be remaining along the fence line.
Mr. Planner, do we have a...
Because my understanding is I really can't do anything about this development after tonight. And I'm just kind of really curious as to what's being put into place to protect me as a homeowner. I do grow trees, so I know roots are already on the other side of the fence. Oh my.
So does
Yeah, like
that-
I have one of the last little farms left. I've lived in the area for 40 years. So,
does-
you know,
does
like
this
there's
help you?
no trees left anywhere.
does this help you identify?
Oh, God, I'm trying to kind of vision where
Mr.
it
Planner,
is.
perhaps you could help us, please?
Yeah, because it's like
relative to
all
the
old growth
Speaker's
forest.
property.
So things like drainage and land height and whatnot are a really big concern to me. I have a bottom acre in my field that bylaws has failed me in somebody raising their land. So I've lost 1 acre of my growth and income in doing that there. I also have had development down the other 3 acres, the front of my property, over the past, several years. Again, the land was raised probably 3 to 4 feet retaining walls. They're all caving in. I've phoned the city. Nobody does anything. Again, it's me. Drainage, water backing up for 1 acre in a field. I just don't really know the process on how to be guaranteed that the foundation to the house won't be affected. For sure, my fence is. It's on a concrete foundation there, a cedar fence. There's tree roots coming underneath. I have photos on my phone, but there's massive old growth trees within 10 feet of my kitchen window. I'm also really concerned about street lights right in my bedroom window because the way they've got the road developed as a turn. You can see my house is right there where it looks like it says it's a driveway to a park. I'm not also sure why there's other buildings kind of planned into my property.
I'm just for orientation purposes. Are you to the west? Yes. Okay.
I am
So there you are
to the west. I am the really large piece of land.
Okay.
I go from 1 acre off the back of 60th all the way down to Highway 10, 58th. So over the years, I've seen the other farm disappear. I'm like the last remaining piece of land there. I'm also against the size of the lots because every neighborhood, as the lady earlier was discussing, are all larger lots, and we're going to fit like 7 houses going across. So that's my property, yes.
And these are RF.
Is there a diagram that shows actually where so see where all the X's are, the developmental part? I have a picture here that sort of shows exactly where my house is and my barn is.
Can you provide
Right,
that
I mean,
to
I
the
can show
planner?
you. Sorry, I don't know the process, how it works here. Well, see here, this is what I'm trying to explain. There's my house.
Perhaps we can see it on the screen here.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, okay, so
That's your house.
that's my house. So you can see the far side of the house has enough room only for a driveway to go around to the right, to the east. And all of those properties, that's all old growth original trees. I have a fence that goes right up where you can see their trees are hanging over. Right. I also have a concern for, I don't know when the development takes place, but for 4 years, I have been phoning the city bylaws. There are 2 condemned houses there that are constantly got vagrants in them. They've been caught on fire. There is garbage all over the yard. There are trees that are caved in on the house. There's been walls and stuff removed with asbestos. I've made reports. So where am I protected? Is really my worry is my concern is about me. I can't stop development. I think it's a shame that all those trees are going to be gone.
Well, the problem properties,
Yeah.
obviously we've known of those. The concerns you have around the drainage, Mr.
Yeah,
Engineer,
yeah.
how do we ensure that that farm and that ag property is not
Yeah.
affected by this development?
Madam Mayor, that's a process that we'll certainly be addressing with the developer's consultant.
Yeah.
As part of this development, there will be a north-south road along the western property of this development, which is just to the
Adjacent
east
to
of
this
delegation's
speaker.
property.
Yeah,
that
the
in
fence.
itself will also be providing some drainage mitigation.
And will the speaker have an opportunity to understand and be engaged in that process?
Yeah.
We can certainly speak with the developer's consultant and have the consultant coordinate with the delegation.
I would really like to be involved in the process of just knowing, because like I say, you look at the addresses that are just below that, the 6 houses right at 68A. All their land is now this high above me. There's water runoff. There's rail ties that were, I guess, approved as being part of the retaining wall. I'm pushing rock and gravel. Neighbors don't do anything. Bylaws has come. It's not been enforced. The very bottom of my field, I was told, well, it's there now, so you know what? It's a personal nature. You can take them to court. Why?
Well, we'll make sure that this application does not affect your livelihood and what you're doing on that property, and ensure the applicant is aware of our wishes should this
Right.
go through this evening.
Yeah, just things like parking right against the fence. I mean, I've been broken into so many times because of these properties not being cleared up and people living in them. And yeah, I just, like, what do I do? Do I have to go get someone to take pictures of the foundation of my house? Like, I'd like to know how it is that, like, I certainly hope it isn't the hi-ho operator that's the one that's using his discretion when he grabs the trees and pulls them out, that they're not underneath my patio and my house that's 10 feet away, because they're already under the fence going like this. It's really, I don't know how to protect myself.
You will have a discussion with the applicant and with our staff as the process moves forward, if it goes forward this evening.
Okay. Okay. So then my only other concern again was, I'm not against development, but I see the lots getting smaller and smaller and smaller in the area. And just something that I think sort of starts to devalue the land for everybody going around.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate economics of the world we're in today, for sure. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. I appreciate that. I think everybody.
Yeah, so
wishes
things
we
like
could,
lighting and whatnot, can I be part of that process, or do I literally not
I'm sorry?
like street lighting, right where the houses are, how close they're going to be?
That,
Where there's a
you
light
can have
in-
that conversation with our planning department as well, yes.
Okay. I just want to know that I can actually be part of it, because I've tried to be part of.
I think it's better that we understand the nature of the farming that you're doing and
Yes.
ensure that that can continue
Okay.
as a result of this application.
And the protection
if
of the
it goes
property?
forward tonight. Yes.
Like the protection of the house.
Always, yes.
Okay. Then that's all.
Thank you for
Yeah.
your comments.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak to bylaw number 3 this evening?
Good evening. Deb Jack, Surrey Environmental Partners.
Good evening.
On this site, there are 206 trees that are 12 inches minimum in diameter at breast height. 199 are going to be killed off, with 7 remaining. That is a gargantuan canopy loss, as was noted when the aerial photograph was just shown a few minutes ago. Of note is the fact that the proponent has opted for the $30,000 per acre payment in replacement of trees that cannot be planted on site. Had there been a per tree, it would have been $72,000 more that would have come to the Green City Fund. I just draw that to your attention. We'll continue to do that because of the variance. We understand that it's much, much better than it was before, when we only had $15,000 per acre when they got essentially clear-cut, loss of so many trees. But that $72,000 represents 180 trees of caliper size that would be planted elsewhere in the city to give us canopy. In addition to which, Council may recall at the time of the ecosystem management study, this particular area looked really good insofar as some of the ecosystems. Then when we had the biodiversity conservation strategy, you'll recall that main corridors, hubs and sites were noted on there, and we expressed great concern because at the area bounded by 64, number 10, 152 and 120th contained 3 hubs and a number of sites. And now I believe there are no hubs and there are scarcely any sites that are left remaining. That's really unfortunate that somehow we weren't able to be planning ahead and had more conserved that was in that area. In addition, this report did not contain any report from parks. Just draw that to your attention.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else wishing to speak to Bylaw 3 this evening? And after this gentleman, you, sir, will be the final speaker on Bylaw 3.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Mike Compter, 12992 76th Avenue in Surrey. I'm the agent for this development project. So I just wanted to go through some of the issues that were raised tonight. So initially when we met with the city, we looked at various options and layouts and options in terms of townhouse development. In the end, it was decided to proceed with the single-family proposal. So working through with staff, indications were that the property owner to the west who spoke tonight, we were to provide them with access. That property is heavily inundated with a hydro right-of-way, and the only non-encumbered portion of the property is sort of the northeast quadrant that you see on that property. So the intent was to provide them with physical road access to their property and allow them the ability to develop their property if they choose to do so sometime in the future. So that's how we came up with the layout. Maybe if I can ask the planner to put up the layout plan. So the property, the neighboring property is the property that shows the dashed lines on the left side of the subject property. So the dark lines are the proposed development before you tonight. There's the proposed road coming in from 128th Avenue. 128th Avenue is an arterial road with a median, so there's very little opportunity for left turn movements. So the intent is to have ultimately an alternate access for this area with an access to the north to 60th Avenue. And so that would be, we kept the road as on the east side of the speaker's property for the adjacent properties to the north, with the bending to line up with the intersection that currently exists on the north side of 60th Avenue. So that's the intent, or the how we got to this particular road layout plan. So the road that's going to be constructed here will be at least 10 feet away from the neighboring property, plus her 10 feet to the existing house. That'll be 20 feet from her house. Any of the trees that will be removed will not be impacted. The arborist has gone out, has surveyed all the trees, examined all the trees, and determined that there would not be any negative impact on her property. So in terms of addressing your concern, that would be addressed. There will be an arborist on the site during construction as well to ensure that is the case.
She's concerned about some of the roots that are going past the fence line into her property.
Yes, correct. And that's what the arborist will be reviewing again once construction starts. So his assessment is that there should be no impact. He'll be out there again during construction, so when they start doing the field work, they'll determine whether there is any negative impact on the property. Again, with regards to safety, the intent was as well the road would provide that safety issue, because currently she is quite isolated from the rest of the neighborhood. So with the road being constructed here, there will be houses facing her property. So the SEPTED principles are in place here, so there will be eyes on her property. So she'll have neighbors in the sense of somebody that can look after her property in the sense of when she's not there. So it'll form a bit of a community or neighborhood as opposed to the isolation that this property has at this time. And again, the layout that's shown, the dashed lines on her property, is purely conceptual. It's something that the city staff require in any project. So this is purely a conceptual layout on her property. As you mentioned, she does not have to develop. That's her prerogative, whether she chooses to do so or not. With regards to the houses, the developer has made application to the city for a demolition permit 2 months ago. He has been removing some of the asbestos or any other materials from the houses. So at this stage, he's just waiting for the city to issue the demolition permit, and those houses will be removed. That's the 2 existing houses on fronting 128th Street. With regards to drainage, or maybe I'll start off with retaining wall. There's no retaining walls proposed for this development. The proposed road along the east side of her property will be at grade. There will be no grade change. There will be no retaining walls whatsoever. With the road construction, there will be a drainage system put in place that will drain the road and the property, subject property, and any properties to the north that currently drain in that direction. All the drainage will be directed to 128th Street into an existing conveyance system down 128th Street, and there will be no drainage at all entering her property from this development. And then just lastly, her comment, my client is willing to work with her, so we're open to have a meeting or discussions with her
Thank you.
if she chooses to do so.
Appreciate that you have or your client provides that opportunity to talk about the lighting and any effect that it would have on the ag property.
Yeah, we can have that discussion. I think planning will be involved with that as well. And
Yes.
engineering. Won't leave out engineering either.
I expect both.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, I would ask you to go to bylaw number 4.
Is zoning amendment bylaw 19237. The address is 6234 128th Street. The applicant is Pro Ridge Homes Limited. The applicant is seeking to rezone the site from 1 acre residential to single-family residential and single-family residential 13. The applicant is proposing to subdivide the site into 17 single-family lots, 5 RF and 12 RF13. In addition, a development variance permit is being sought to reduce the minimum lot width for lots 1 to 9 and lot 13 in order to achieve an efficient subdivision layout.
We have correspondence on table, which is a petition of 13 signatures in opposition. We have 4 people signed up in favor of the application this evening, not wishing to speak, and I have 2 speakers. Dev Singh, I believe, is the first speaker. Good evening, Mr. Singh.
Good evening. Yes, yeah. I will take you back into the last development, right? How this whole thing.
Could you give your address to the clerk, please?
That was okay. My name is Dev Singh. Is 6290 128A Street, Surrey.
Okay.
So on 128A, there was a development in 2015, right? So we had issues at that time. There were proposals for small lots that the neighborhood rejected, and then they came with the town hall that was rejected as well. We went through a lot of difficulties with the neighborhood and with the city and the developer to make sure that whatever they do, it reflects to our properties as same as so the whole thing is conformed. The whole neighborhood is conformed. And this is to do with the price, so many vehicles sometimes because there's a school on 62 as well that makes an issue there as well. So anyway, that time we made sure that city will not only accept 128 for the first development, but city gave us the word that the second development will be conformed same. Right? Now we have issues that right to the end of 62 and 128A, there are small lots. The whole neighborhood is not in favor of this. Right? If you go back and see all the people that signed the first development, that they were against of all those things. And now we are back to the small lots again. So please look into it, what city did on the last one and how many people rejected this. The issue is the school makes the issue. They are mostly on that corner there. When you congest so many small lots into there, with all the traffic and everything, that becomes, first of all, it's not safe. One thing, and then it just doesn't conform. And one thing, you know what, since I get to talk to the city, why we mix the big and small lots, why it have to be, why city doesn't look into it, what is wrong with the engineering department that they cannot have it all conformed, that if you're making lots 72, make it all 72. You can make it bigger, that's up to the developer, but you should not be making small lots where it doesn't belong, right? Make it somewhere where it's a new development where you can make the small lots. But please don't mix it. That's what the neighborhood wants. All they ask is to respect the neighborhood and keep it conform, same as what is on the opposite of 128A. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Are those RF12 lots immediately to the north?
I don't have the plan. Most probably...
On 128?
No, on 128 is, yes, those are the smaller lots. That's fine, right? That's acceptable, right?
Okay.
This is what is on 128A.
128A is RF. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Surinder Bathal. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. My name is Surinder Singh Bathal. I live at 6218 128A Street. I'm totally against this Lot 13 variance, where the width of the lot is going to be reduced from 15 meters to 13.5. I've got signatures from 12 people, 12 households who are against this variance, and I'm pretty sure if I put some more time into, I would have got more signatures as well.
We have that petition on table.
Yeah, just like Dave mentioned that back in 2011, when on the adjacent parcel, when the developer wanted to put some rental units and make smaller lots, the whole neighborhood voiced their concern against it. And both myself, Dave, we were in that meeting where the City Council said that any future developments down the road will be similar, will have the lots similar in size and shape and width and so on. So I just don't, I find it very hard what is being proposed now. And it was hub engineering at that time and is hub engineering at this time. So I just find it hard.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your comments.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak to Bylaw 4? Okay.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Mike Compter, 12992 76th Avenue, Surrey. And maybe if I could ask Mr. Planner to put up the layout plan. So yes, we did work on the project to the north of this development. At the time, there was an application made for smaller lots. We went through the process and listened to the neighborhood, and they came back and said, we want to keep the RF lots on the east half of the development site.
So on the 128A street side? Correct. Are the larger, and then are they RF13 on the 128 side?
Yes, correct. Well, they're actually they were CD RF12 lots, but the current proposal is for the larger RF13 lots on the west side. As the gentleman said, he doesn't have any issue with those lots. So what we've done here is we've extended the RF lots down 128A Street. The lots on the fronting onto 60th Avenue, those are RF13 lots. We felt that the transition to the lands to the south, which we believe will be a higher density in the future, would form a natural transition between those lots. So what we see is the lots 1, 2, 3, 4 lots are RF lots, and then we're 13 is as well, and then we're transitioning to the RF13, 3 RF13 lots along 60th Avenue. So the intent was to maintain that RF separation on 128A Street and transitioning to the smaller lots along 60th and 128th Street.
Councillor Hain.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you to the delegation, did you look with staff at a lot layout that that continued those RFs down the eastern portion, so making lot 13 a full-sized RF, and then out of 10, 11, and the remainder of 10 and 11, 12, making another RF lot situated east-west? That would yield 2 less lots, I realize, on the layout. But did you look at that with staff, and was there a reason that RF configuration didn't continue south right the way down to what is it, 62 there?
Yes, we did. So the intent was, when we looked at it, was the property south of 60th Avenue. The intent, we understand, is to create a higher density on that side of the road. So the intent was to have that transition from that density to the RF lots to the north there. So we did look at doing RF lots on the corner at 60th and 128A Street as well. It was decided that this was a better solution than just extending the RF lots down and having a heavy transition to a lower density on the other side.
Thank you. I see no other questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, bylaw 5.
Yes, zoning amendment bylaw.
Oh, I'm sorry. You didn't sign up for that. I didn't see your hand, Deb. Sorry.
Deb Jack, Surrey Environmental Partners. Out of 137 trees, 130 were going to be killed off, with a remainder of 7 trees. Now here I am a bit confused, which perhaps isn't unreasonable. It says 1 tree will be retained on site and 6 trees will be on the city boulevard. And to my thinking, that means that there's only going to be 1 tree retained on site. And that once the trees are in the area of where the boulevard is, that they then become, in effect, city trees. I'm really pleased to read, and I should note that engineering is increasingly trying to save larger trees that are on the boulevard areas and are doing meandering sidewalks. And I imagine that's what's intended here. But if this is the case, then that means that the monies owed by the proponent is greater than what is suggested in the report. Because indeed it will be 6 fewer trees left on site.
Comment from Mr. Planner. Can you clarify? Are the trees on city property ultimately, and do they count relative to saved trees?
Madam Mayor, the delegation is correct that 6 trees are identified within the city boulevard, the ultimate boulevard, and 1 tree is identified for retention on site.
So if they're on the city boulevard and they're saved, is there a cost to the applicant relative to that? Or are they considered saved trees? And
Madam Mayor, those trees are currently on the applicant's property. They're not city tree just yet.
So the applicant is considered to have saved them?
That's correct, Madam Mayor.
Well, even though he's gifting them to us, basically. Okay.
Should the application be approved, that's
you
correct.
You are correct in your analysis, Deb.
Okay, so should engineering, heaven forfend, decide that they can't keep those trees, then who's responsible for the $400 per tree?
They would have decided that in advance of having saved those trees and as the application proceeds. But the expectation is that we're saving those trees, or the applicant is saving those trees. If that is not the case, he would have to pay for it, or she. However, we don't believe that to be how it will unfold.
Thank you. They look like to be nice trees. I think they're the pin oaks.
Thank you. Was there anyone else I missed? Madam Clerk, bylaw 5.
Bylaw 5 is zoning amendment bylaw 19233. The address is 18992 32nd Avenue. The applicant is B&B Contracting Limited. The applicant seeking to rezone the site from intensive agriculture to Business Park 1. The applicant is proposing to allow for a future light industrial or business park use on the site. A detailed development permit will be needed before the site is ultimately developed.
We have one letter on file, on table, in opposition to this bylaw. There is no one signed up nor anyone wishing to speak. Is there anyone wishing to speak to this bylaw? Campbell Heights, bylaw 5. Madam Clerk, next bylaw.
Is zoning amendment bylaw 19234. The address is 15977 28th Avenue. The applicant is Petite Giraffe Montessori Preschool and Daycare Incorporated. The applicant is seeking to rezone the property from childcare to comprehensive development. The applicant is proposing to develop a 3-story building to accommodate a childcare facility for up to 66 children in group childcare, preschool and after-school programs. In addition, a development variance permit is being sought to reduce the minimum setback requirement from the top of the bank for a Class A water course from 100 feet to 49 feet at the closest point in order to accommodate the proposed development.
Don't have anything on table for this, nor anyone signed up for it. Is there anyone wishing to speak to bylaw 6 this evening? Anyone? Madam Clerk, next bylaw, please.
Is zoning amendment bylaw 19238. The addresses are 1869 and 1889 168th Street. The applicants are 1005667 BC Limited. And 1010215 BC Limited. The applicants are seeking to rezone the site from 1-acre residential to single-family residential 13. The applicant is proposing to subdivide the site into 71 single-family lots. In addition, a development variance permit is being sought to reduce the lot depth for all proposed lots, front yard setbacks for proposed lots 19 and 20, rear yard setbacks for proposed lots 10, 19, 20, and 31 in order to achieve functional floor plans. The applicant is also seeking to amend zoning bylaw definition of front lot line for proposed lot 19 so that 18B Avenue can be considered the front lot line.
We don't have anyone with correspondence on table for this, nor anyone signed up to speak, but I have 7 persons who do not wish to speak. 6 have signed up in favor of this bylaw, and 1 has signed up in opposition to this bylaw. Is there anyone wishing to speak to bylaw 7 this evening? Deb?
Deb Jack, Surrey Environmental Partners. Essentially, this is to simply draw your attention to the fact that of 410 trees, they're going to kill off 406, keeping 4. The proponent invited me to a meeting to which I attended and had the opportunity to speak to an arborist, and he advised that most of the trees on the site were not indeed worthy of retention. But I think it's worth noting that notwithstanding that fact, the loss of all of these areas that we have in the city represents a real large loss in total ecosystem services. It's not just the canopy function that the trees provide. It's all the other ecosystem services that's got to do with the lower trees, smaller trees, shrubs, and all the activity that occurs there. But just to draw your attention to that. It's a lot of trees.
That is a lot of trees. Thank you for that. Anyone else on number 7 tonight? Madam Clerk, bylaw 8.
Is zoning amendment bylaw 19239. The address is 15378 28th Avenue. The applicants are Rajni and Rajinder Vermani. The applicants are seeking to rezone the property from single-family residential to single-family residential 10. The applicant's proposing to subdivide the property into 2 single-family small lots.
We have no correspondence or anyone signed up to speak to this bylaw. Is there anyone wishing to speak to bylaw 8 this evening? Madam Clerk, bylaw 9, please.
Is a zoning amendment bylaw 19240. The address is 2189 123rd Street. The applicants are Arthur and Clarice Skidmore. The applicants are seeking to rezone the property from single-family residential to single-family residential oceanfront. The applicants proposing to bring the existing dwelling into compliance and allow for an addition to the garage. In addition, a development variance permit is being sought to reduce the minimum rear yard setback from 33 feet to 27.5 feet in order to bring an existing deck into conformity with the zone.
We have one letter on table relative to this bylaw concerned about construction noise, but no one signed up to speak for or against. Is there anyone wishing to speak to bylaw 9?
Good evening. My name is William Liang. I live at 2175 123 Street, and we're directly south of this property. While we have no direct objection to the bylaw, we do have some concerns. We just want to voice that the construction in this property has actually is well underway, and it has been going on for well over a year. And there has been new concrete patios poured, and some of the walls have already been removed and restructured. My second point is that, as you're all aware, the bluff area in Ocean Park is rather unstable. We have had 2 significant landslides in our property. The most recent one in 2011 was subject to 3 separate independent geotechnical surveys, 2 being undertaken by the City of Surrey and 1 undertaken by ourselves. And we are concerned about the instability of the property, and we just want the city planners to be very cognizant of that in their decisions. And the current deck that is to be brought in conformity is already cantilevered off to the slope, and it has been there for some years. And I'm not sure whether that, by changing the bylaw, the rear yard setback, whether that is going to allow any structures to be built out to that point. And my last point is that trees on the property line, I want to make it very clear that those trees, every single one of those trees that are on the property line currently belong to our side of the property, and is our trees, and we don't wish that to be disturbed in any way, because when the house was first built back in 1993, I believe, the owner had already taken down about somewhere around 14 to 17 fir and cedar trees, which caused a landslide, which caused our first landslide that we experienced. So we're very sensitive to that, and we just want the city to be aware that this is a very sensitive area.
Thank you. And let's just clarify with the planner what the intention is relative to, are there any tree removals as a result of this renovation to the addition?
Madam Mayor, the applicant's proposing to retain 21 of 27 trees on site, and the 6 trees that are proposed to be removed already have existing damage to their root zones, so that's why they're being suggested.
And are they in an area of that towards the slope, or what is the protection that we're looking for the other homes in this area?
Madam Mayor, as I understand it, the delegation is on the southern portion, and there's no trees shown there for removal.
Okay, so they're not in the cantilevered area, and they don't look like they're in proximity to your trees, Mr. Skidmore. Councillor Woods, you have a question?
I
of
do.
the
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor.
delegation.
Sir, you said that there's construction has been ongoing on that site for a year. Now, the application, one of the things on this application is for an addition to a garage. The construction you refer to, are they already building onto the garage?
I am not aware, but I know that the neighborhood is aware that there has been construction going on. The layout on the last image, that has already, the grounds have already been constructed.
What exactly does that mean?
Well, I believe that construction has already begun. I'm just a neighbor. We have no idea what is going on because we can't see what's going on. But my wife hears the noise on a daily basis, and it has been going on for a year. We don't know what is being built there.
So you don't know whether they're just doing renovations inside the house?
No, I'm not aware.
You're not aware of any new...
When I did take a look at it, finally, recently, we have to basically climb a fence to see it. The southwest walls have already been taken out, and a new concrete patio has already been poured in that area. And we understand that there has been a lot of removal of concrete over the past year.
Okay.
So there's been a lot of construction noise over the past, at least past 12 months.
Okay, Madam Mayor, for staff, please. Staff, are you aware if construction on this proposed addition to the garage has already started?
You?
Madam Mayor, we would not issue a building permit if the property was not conforming to the zoning of what is proposed.
That would be a no. Thank you. And thank you, sir, for your comments. Is there anyone else on this bylaw number 9? Deb?
Deb Jack, Surrey Environmental Partners. Mayor and Council, we're always speaking with regards to the issue of tree canopy coverage in Surrey. And we know that as development occurs, what we've got to depend on for quite some time is that which is on the boulevards, medians, and of course in our parks. In reading this report, there is a statement that says that 6 boulevard trees were removed without permits and that the parks has been informed of this violation. I'm wondering on behalf of anybody who might have a query just exactly what the penalties for doing this is concerned.
Who's going to take that, Mr. Solicitor or Madam Parks?
Madam Mayor, I don't have the exact fine offhand with me, but perhaps
that will be through the courts system.
The fine does vary. There is discretion.
I'm sorry.
It depends on the tree, Madam Mayor.
Depends on the tree, the size of the tree, and ultimately the if it requires court action.
Yes.
Would that be fair to say?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Okay.
Can we at least be told that it's a reasonable amount, that perhaps in excess of $400 a tree?
Mr. Planner, General Manager.
Madam Mayor, usually it's in the thousands of dollars for an infraction.
Thank you very much.
Sometimes as high as 10, wasn't it? Yeah.
I'm sorry?
Okay. Sometimes it has gone as high as 10.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, there was another gentleman, sir.
Good evening. My name is Paul Thiessen from New Creation Homes. My address is 21470 61st Avenue in Langley, and I'm here representing the owner. The owner, the Skidmores, bought the property approximately a little over a year ago. They engaged us about 6 months ago to come on board and try and straighten out what had become a mess, I imagine, for them. So I'll try and answer some of the questions here. First of all, with the slope in the back, it's true there have been some mudslides to the north of us, and the city has requested that we provide them with a slope stability study, which we've done. We're just having the geotech report now peer-reviewed, and that will be submitted as well. So there are no issues with the slope. We're not planning to build anything in the back. There were some concrete patios poured and an Allen block retaining wall that were added subsequent to our involvement. So basically, when we came on board, we said, look, our reputation is built on working with the municipalities or cities where we build. I'm just a home builder, and so we have to work with the city. And I have to say, your staff has been very great in helping us steering through so that we can conform. The house that's there is about 40 years old. It has had numerous renovations without permits. That's obvious when you look at it. Unfortunately, the homeowner, when he bought the property, because of the market, he had to buy it. Well, he wasn't forced to, but he bought it without having a home inspection. So when we came in and had a look at it, it was obvious that it had been renovated. We figured maybe 4 or 5 times, and the neighbors could speak to that. So one of the things we are doing currently is replacing the leaky and rotten roof. So that's the construction that they're hearing there. We've also pulled off some of the stone where there's water damage in some of the windows. We have an application to add, the only additional square footage would be a double garage, but we haven't had changed the structure of the building or done anything on there yet. So the concrete patios in the back that were poured, true, that was done, not on our part, by the owner, I guess some landscapers he hired. So they are no longer working there. They have been working on some landscape items in terms of just planting trees and pulling out different things like that. The tree issue there, when we got involved, the tree barriers had not been put up as per city requirements. We've subsequently done that, have had them inspected by the arborists, and also submitted those reports to the city. And we've got an indication that we can save, I think, more trees than what were originally damaged. So the report that we've received, the second report, is that they might be studied for a year and hopefully can remain. Our intention is not to cut down the trees there at all. There is one tree there that is not on our property but is on BNR property that is an issue. And so we have, the city has requested that we get a letter from BNR to cut the tree down but leave the stump in there so that the stability of the slope is not compromised.
Thank you for those clarifying remarks. That's helpful.
I don't know is there any other questions that I missed?
I see no questions.
So we do have a permit application in. We're hoping to get that renovation permit once this is dealt with, if it goes through, and we're anticipating that it does. We're looking forward to bringing the house back up to what it deserves, because it's a beautiful property. And so if the neighbors, they can come by. We usually open it during the day. If they've got any questions, they can come and see us.
That would be better than looking over the fence. Thank you.
Yep. Okay.
On the ladder.
Madam Clerk, next bylaw, please, number 10.
It is zoning amendment bylaw 19241. The addresses are 10297, 10327, 133 A Street. The applicant is Westone Properties 104 Limited and West Village Parcel 6 Holdings Limited. The applicants are seeking to rezone the site from single-family residential to comprehensive development. The applicants proposing to develop a 44-story residential tower and a 13-story podium containing 11 two-story townhouse units, and at the ground level, 539 apartment units and ground-level retail space. The building is proposed to consist entirely of rental units.
We have 3 pieces of correspondence on table in opposition relative to construction noise, parking and crime, and 2 in opposition wishing to speak. Natalia Shane is first up. Natalia.
Hi, my name is Natalia Shane, property 13639 102A Avenue, Unit 411. So my main concern is traffic. So 133A and 102A Avenue are really quiet side streets without traffic signals, traffic lights, as a new high-rise will significantly increase traffic congestion with the proposed 600 parking spots. This presents a safety concern for pedestrians as well during the construction period, as there is no sidewalk. Also, there are 3 construction sites nearby that often close nearby roads. And even the last weekend, there was congestion during when they closed the University Boulevard. So I'm really, my question is, what is the traffic management plan for 133A Avenue during the construction period? And what is the traffic management plan after the construction period of this unit?
I'd expect during construction there is an expectation of flag persons for something as significant as this high-rise. Mr. Planner or Engineer?
Madam Mayor, that's correct. During the building construction, the developer will be responsible for providing appropriate traffic management plans with flag persons, as well as during the construction of the road itself. They will also have flag person for safety purposes.
And that would be approved by our engineering department.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Natalia. John Shane? Good evening.
Good evening. My name is John Shane. I live at 13339 102A Avenue, which is lot 16147, just to the south of the proposed development. I would just like to read from the letter that I submitted to Council. So, Dear Surrey City Council, I'm writing in response to the notice of public hearing for the rezoning application for bylaw number 19241 on 133A Street. I own unit number 411 at 13339 102A Avenue, and I am opposed to this rezoning request. My condo is directly adjacent to the lot in question, and this rezoning application will directly harm my personal and financial well-being. I purchased this condo in 2015 when the lot in question was zoned for low-rise residential development only. This rezoning application would obstruct the mountain views from my condo and lower the property resale value. The financial impact to adjacent homeowners needs to be considered. The developer will earn a significant profit from the new high-rise at the expense of the comfort and well-being of residents. The property value of neighboring dwellings will be negatively impacted throughout construction. No one wants to purchase a home adjacent to an active construction site. Construction of the proposed development will also create a significant nuisance to neighborhood residents, particularly noise and dust generation, construction vehicle traffic, potential road closures, detours, and parking, potential for vibration and settlement for adjacent structures, and potential for erosion, turbid runoff, and chemical spills. Before approving the rezoning request, the developer should be required to submit a construction management plan that addresses these concerns. The proposed development will add another high-rise to an already population-dense area. Another high-rise will reduce green space and natural light available to residents in the neighborhood. A public green space or low-rise residential development would be more appropriate for this site. To summarize, proposed rezoning and development on 133A Street financially benefits the developer while negatively impacting the well-being of our neighborhood. Construction of the proposed high-rise will create a nuisance to residents, increase traffic congestion, and reduce green space in the neighborhood. I trust the Surrey City Council will take these points into consideration when reviewing this application. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Are you in a mid-rise, are you?
It's a four-story condo, yeah.
It's a four-story condo. Okay. Councillor Starchuk, question?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Maybe towards staff, can they confirm for me whether or not the lot in question was previously zoned for low-rise residential?
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Starchuk, the site is designated in the City Centre Plan for high-rise at an FAR of 5.5, so it has been designated as a high-rise site.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, John.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak to bylaw 10? Okay, sir.
My name is Zheng Boyi.
I'm sorry, could you speak into the mic? I didn't hear that.
ZHNGBOYIN. My address is 13339, 102A Avenue. My condo is on the 109, the bottom, just above the parking. So my back door, just facing the 10297, the property. So I have three concerns about this development. Now there is a small path road between 1339 and 10297 and 13321 and 13325. There is the small road that comes from 133 Street to 133A Street. This is a small path road. Many people use this way instead of a main way on the 102A Avenue. But still, on the summer or winter, there are still many people just stay in this street for a long time, dandling there, and they smoke. Here, they using drug here, and there are always lots of. I find lots of needle in this road on the flower pot, and sometimes there are still residents from the above level. When they finish smoke, they just throw the button, the cigarette butt down. And there's one time I find that the smoke, because it burns the small piece of wood on the flower, so almost burning. So I hope when finished, the developer will consider this problem, not let this small way blocked, or let it blocked, or the windows of a building just facing this small way cannot throw anything down. Otherwise, maybe there is a problem for safety. The one thing is when a cigarette butt coming down, it can cause fire. Another thing is if this building, I heard, is just for rental. If some not responsible people living upstairs, they throw stuff down on the road, it will hit somebody between this passing this way. I think this should be considered before. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, sir. Anyone else on bylaw 10? Last call. Good evening, sir.
Yep, Robert Dominic. Madam Mayor, we had a PowerPoint presentation which I believe was sent to... Who did you send it to? Oh, it's up. How do you move it? Oh, okay. Robert Dominic, Suite 300, 10090, 152nd Street. Over the past 4 years, Westone has been making moves towards providing substantial dedicated rental stock in Surrey to help towards meeting the ever-increasing demand. We currently have 3 major developments underway at Scott Road SkyTrain, Surrey Memorial Hospital, and in the city centre, together which will provide some 1,200 rental units. Pad 5 in our West Village Master Plan community is the subject of tonight's presentation, and we would like to put forward our case for a relaxation of the amenity space requirement. Westone carried out a lot of preparatory work before venturing into the dedicated rental market field. We engaged and consulted with some of the leading and most experienced rental management companies in North America, and we visited many extremely successful and well-run rental properties managed by Rhapsody Property Management Services. Rhapsody is headquartered in Toronto and was formed to satisfy the growing needs for sophisticated third-party rental management and to provide a level of service not previously offered in the Canadian rental market. Rhapsody taps into the experience of its parent company, Pinnacle, which is one of the leading rental management companies in the US, with over $4 billion of rental property management assets and a 35-year track record of rental management experience. With such an extensive portfolio, the firm fully understands the operational needs of dedicated rental buildings, and they worked with us on a consulting basis to help structure the elements required for a successful rental building that will be a credit to the City of Surrey. Based on our findings over the past few years of investigating the rental property marketplace and from the input provided to us by our consultants, we set out to provide first-class amenities for Pad 5, our first rental high-rise. Indoor amenities include exercise facilities, yoga stations, workshops, workstations, a library, social gathering spaces, games rooms, and private social rooms. Whenever possible, the indoor amenities are tied into the outdoor amenities, which include a sanitary custom dog park, which we have found to be essential to eliminate waste on the streets, one of the leading causes of complaints for residential high-rises. Community gardens, reflection areas, outdoor barbecue facilities, and lounge and relaxation areas. When Pad 5 appeared before the advisory design panel as a dedicated rental building, it received accolades for its indoor and outdoor amenities. The ADP members expressed appreciation for the amount of research, time and effort that Westone had applied to its custom rental design of the building. Westone's Pad 5 dedicated rental development includes over 11,500 square feet of indoor and over 10,200 square feet of outdoor amenity area, which is less than the bylaw requirement of 32 feet per acre, 32 square feet per unit. However, we consider the amenities provided are substantial and in line with industry standards for similar rental buildings throughout North America. They are also of exceptional quality and are based on the state-of-the-industry amenities that we reviewed in very successful rental buildings run by Pinnacle in Seattle. As we move forward with our initial dedicated rental building research, we found out that many municipalities in the Lower Mainland offered developers substantial concessions for the creation of dedicated rental buildings. However, despite our request to City Hall, no concessions were granted by the City of Surrey to encourage the development of dedicated rental buildings. Despite that, we moved forward, and now, with dedicated rental buildings in the permitting process, we are seeking understanding from Mayor and Council that dedicated rental buildings require unique management and amenities. Also, along with that, an understanding that rental buildings need to be economically viable to succeed. We hear all the time in the media of the need for rental stock, yet to create it, there needs to be concessions granted, or at the very least, an understanding of the economics required to create it. Westone has made a huge commitment to building in the city of Surrey, and we are proud to be contributing to the growth of Surrey city centre. We have many diversified developments built and underway, which include residential, commercial, medical and educational. Now, Westone is venturing into the dedicated rental marketplace, which is resulting in the first custom rental building appeared in Surrey city centre for almost 30 years. Westone is requesting that Mayor and Council understand the specific requirements created by dedicated rental buildings and agree to allow for cash in lieu to be paid on the shortfall of amenity space for this development. The total value of the cash in lieu contributions, should this development be approved, is approximately $1.5 million, which is required to be paid prior to issuance of a development permit. However, Westone is prepared to make this contribution immediately following the passing of third reading and public hearing. Oops. Westone feels that the contribution of this cash in lieu would be of greater value if applied to the local community rather than trying to put an additional amenity space into this building and effectively making it non-viable as a dedicated rental development. In conclusion, the amenities we are providing in Pad 5 are of a superior quality and have been tried and tested in many rental buildings of a similar size to ours. They are effective and well balanced and are well liked by the tenants. If we were to provide amenity space in Pad 5 as per the bylaw requirements of 32 feet per unit, the efficiency of this building would drop below 80%, and as such, it would not be a viable proposition. With that, I conclude our presentation, and we at Westone thank you for listening and giving our input your consideration.
Mr. Dominic, what is the intention in terms of the rental building? Is it your intention to have an operator vet and manage the clientele and the tenants that you would be putting in that building? I'm
Yes,
just
madam.
concerned about previous rentals in that area and making sure that there's a vetting process involved.
Very much so. We've looked very closely at the model that's operated by Rhapsody and Pinnacle, and they have a very strong vetting process, and they also run their entire rental setup almost like a boutique hotel.
And so there would be like a concierge then?
That would be the intention. Yes.
The intention. And relative to the space itself, this would be of a caliber. It is your intention, Westones, to build this yourselves?
Well, we will proceed with it as we have every other development in West Village, yes.
Okay, thank you for that. Councillor Starchuk?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. With regards to the presentation and the amenity space, was this presentation made to our planning staff with regards to your comparison, your findings to other properties that were out there at the time?
I believe it was submitted to staff. I'll have to ask that. It was submitted to staff, but it wasn't done in form of a formal presentation.
Councillor LaFranc.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I was a bit confused by the amenity space. So it looks like from the total of all of the properties that you've developed that there is a shortfall of about 19,900 square feet of amenity space in total, which is not just about the rental building, of course. The rental building, I think, has a shortfall of perhaps 7,500 square feet. It was a bit confusing. Maybe you could clarify that for me?
Yeah. Can you speak to that, right? Sure.
Mayor and Council, Ryan Jenkins of Westone. To clarify that, there's actually two elements we're looking at here. We're looking at the West Village Overall Master Plan Community Amenity, and we're also looking at the building-specific amenity. The West Village Overall Community Amenity, there is a cash in lieu contribution that will be made in lieu of the amenity shortfall from the prior phases, which represents about $1.2 million. And the amenity shortfall in this building specifically is about $300,000.
Can I continue?
Certainly may.
Thank you. That seems like then the entire neighborhood has a significant shortfall, in my view. So then when you are saying that there's about 1.5 million, that is for the entire neighborhood, is that correct, or 1.6 million?
The $1.5 million that would be collected for indoor and outdoor amenity shortfalls on both the prior phases of the West Village development and this phase would be given to the city's amenity fund as well as the parks fund to improve parks and other amenities in the surrounding area, or whatever the programs allow for that the money goes towards.
Great. I also have a few questions about parking. So parking relaxations were made, or concessions were made. Can you describe those parking relaxations?
The parking requirements for this building were based on the City of Surrey downtown core minimum requirements. We came very close to meeting those requirements. I believe it was about 40 stalls short. For those 40 stalls, we will be providing cash in lieu under restrictive covenant arrangement for the rental building. Should the building ever be changed from a rental building to a stratified for sale building, the cash in lieu for those shortfall installs would be made to the City of Surrey. With respect to the parking itself, a lot of research and discussion went into identifying exactly how much parking is required by the tenants who will be occupying this building. This research went beyond just the local neighborhood, but also to other buildings that are professionally managed by Rhapsody. And the number that we've provided here, which is just north of 600, is what we feel is actually going to be used and not oversupply. Other thing of note is that the excavation for this building will be the deepest in Surrey at 7 levels to accommodate the stalls that are currently proposed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Planner, if this building were to be ultimately stratified, would it have to come back to this council?
Madam Mayor, no, it would not.
So it could be stratified and sold as individual units as opposed to a rental building?
Sorry, I'll correct. Unless the building has already been occupied. If it's been occupied as a rental, then it would have to come back to council. It would have to come back to council. If it's unoccupied, it would not.
Okay. Thank you. And thank you very much for your presentation. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
I believe that was the final speaker on number 10. Madam Clerk, number 11, please.
Is zoning amendment bylaw 19232. The address is 15936 96th Avenue. The applicant is Changshu Wei Enterprises Limited. The applicant is seeking to rezone the property from single-family residential to neighborhood commercial. The applicant's proposing to develop a 2-story commercial building containing 2 retail units. In addition, a development variance permit is being sought to reduce the side yard setbacks from 25 feet to 0 feet on the west side and from 10 feet on the east side in order to eliminate a potential undesirable corridor between the buildings on the west side and achieve a pedestrian-friendly streetscape along 159A Street.
And no one signed up, we have no correspondence on table with respect to this bylaw. I do have a person signed up for speaking in favor of the bylaw. Joe Muego.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Joe Muego. I'm principal architect at Hearth Architectural. I am the architect of record for this project and just wanted to make myself available if you have any specific questions that aren't addressed in the staff report. And I can also give a brief rationale as to why the development looks like it is and why we are requesting development variances for the side yards. The current development neighbor to the west was actually actually a development that occurred in around the year 2000. And what it did was it established what would potentially be parking along 96th Avenue. And because of that, it pretty much predetermined where our building would sit, and it just simply made the logical conclusion. So unless there's any specific questions, I'll make myself available. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. I see no questions. Is there anyone else wishing to speak to bylaw 11? Okay, sir.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Oscar. My family owns the property of 15932 96th Avenue. We're the property adjacent to the proposed development property. We are in favor of the development and have no direct opposition to it, except we do have some concerns about the development. If I can get a map pulled up of the design.
Do we have a copy of the design to put on screen, please? Will that help you, sir?
Yes, that will. Thank you. Yes, we have some concerns regarding how there is no exit on that property lot, and we have been in conversation with the adjacent developers, and that we realize that it's the city does not allow for an entrance to be on 159A, except we do see that there's an entrance on the back, farther on to the back of the property. If the property line could be expanded, there could be a road that could join up the parking lot, the parkade, to the entrance at 159 that would create an opening that should mitigate some problems. What concerns we do have regarding the lack of an exit is that the road of 96th Avenue already sees a lot of traffic, and being one of the major roads that leads leads east as well as into North Surrey Secondary School. If the proposed building's parking lot does not connect with their exit in the back, then the expanded traffic of the complex can only leave through the main entrance. This will contribute, we believe, will contribute to an increase in vehicle congestion as well as risks of vehicle collisions with other vehicles and pedestrians, including students, especially during school and traffic rush hours. Now, of course, originally, I can't remember what year it was, but they built an island in order to mitigate that very same problem. But if we were to expand without an entrance, then I fear that that would contribute to the original problem that the island was trying to solve. So if that entrance could be connected to the exit in the back, that I believe would be helpful. Also, with the current building layout, larger emergency vehicles such as fire trucks that need to reach the front of the strata can only do so through 96th Avenue. They have to go all the way around. The entrance exit at the back would allow fire trucks to come in, but they won't be able to connect to the front of it. So we do believe that connecting the parkade to the back would be agreeable. Now, we're not sure if this is possible at the current time, but if the property line could be expanded a little bit to accommodate that, that would be ideal.
So, Mr. Engineer, access and egress, including that of the fire, did you understand what the speaker is suggesting?
Madam Mayor, the parking portion of this development along the north side next to 96th Avenue, that portion is being accessed through a reciprocal access easement on the delegation's property. Having an access directly onto 159A Street would be too close to 96th Avenue, and that's why it's not being permitted. And having the driveway access at the southern portion of the property at the back of the commercial building provides further distance away from the intersection with 96th Avenue. I'm a little unclear as to providing that driveway as a lane. There's no requirement for this with this development.
For a lane?
Correct.
Okay. So where are your property is part of this application in terms of providing a
providing an easement
through
that
easement?
area. Yes, it's just through the easement would grant access over to the development property, which we have no problem with, of course. It's just that being the primary entrance into both property lots, we believe would be safety concerns, as I've mentioned, with vehicle congestion, as well as emergency vehicles that need to access the front of the property if the parkade is not joined up with the southern entrance, which would provide, of course, another exit as well as another entrance into the property if required.
Okay, you're confusing me, so I'm going to turn to the engineer and say, do you understand what he's saying relative to access and egress and the movement of our fire vehicles?
Madam Mayor, the whole intent of the original reciprocal access easement that was registered on the delegation's property to the west of this development is to manage access off of 96th Avenue. As far as connecting the two parking lots north and south of the current commercial site, the subject application, there's no opportunity for that given the current layout of the building itself that's being proposed. As far as emergency vehicle access, if there is the opportunity to be on site, they certainly would bring it as close to the buildings as possible. But they will likely just be parking on 96th Avenue or on 159A and respond accordingly.
Okay. Any other comments, sir?
Regarding the single entrances, especially given this year's increase in snow, we're also wondering, our family's wondering if being the primary entrance into both parking lots, will our liability or our benefits, the liability for any problems that occur through that entrance be held? Will we be held responsible, given that there is increased traffic, but they're all coming through the same entrance? Will that incur greater liability on us?
I expect the reciprocal access agreement would take care of that, but I defer to you, Mr. Engineer.
Madam Mayor, that's correct. The reciprocal access easement would cover the requirement for both properties to be sharing costs.
And liabilities?
That's correct as well.
Okay. I understand. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Anyone else wishing to speak to Bylaw 11 tonight? That concludes the public hearing portion of our agenda. Moving in, please, Council, to committee reports.
Move minutes be received, TIC, November 14th.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move recommendations be adopted.
Second.
In favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move minutes be received, TIC, February 27th.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move minutes be received for Seniors Advisory and Accessibility Committee, March 1st.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move the minutes to be received from the Environmental Sustainability Advisory Committee, March 29, 2017.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
And move the recommendations to be adopted.
Second.
In favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move the Agriculture and Food Security Advisory Committee, April 6, 2017 minutes to be received.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move minutes be received, Audit Committee, May 1st.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move minutes be received, Internal Audit Committee, May 1st.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Moving into the Mayor's report, proclamations, Emergency Preparedness Week, May 7 through 13. Whereas Emergency Preparedness Week is designed to increase public awareness of the risks, planning, and preparations that are necessary for any type of emergency or disaster. And whereas the City of Surrey encourages all citizens to have a family emergency plan in place, to be prepared with emergency supplies to cope on your own for at least 72 hours, and to recognize the hazards in our area, such as floods, winter storms, power outages, hazardous materials, earthquakes, etc. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Linda Hepner, do hereby declare May 7 through 13 as Emergency Preparedness Week in the City of Surrey. Elizabeth Fry Week, May 7 through 13. Whereas the first Elizabeth Fry Society in the world was formed in British Columbia in 1939 to help women in conflict with the law. And whereas the Elizabeth Fry Society of Greater Vancouver celebrated 6 years of its service to the people in this area in 2015. And whereas to continue in its worthwhile and valued endeavors, the Elizabeth Fry Society requests support from the people of the city. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Linda Hepner, do hereby declare the week of May 7 through 13 as Elizabeth Fry Week and May 12 as Elizabeth Fry Day in the City of Surrey. That's Friday, not Friday. Chronic Fatigue Syndrome and Fibromyalgia International Awareness Day. Whereas chronic fatigue syndrome is a neurological and autoimmune disease characterized by overwhelming fatigue, pain, post-exertional malaise, headaches, cardiac symptoms, immune disorders, dizziness, and balance problems. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Linda Hepner, do hereby declare May 12 as Chronic Fatigue Syndrome and Fibromyalgia International Awareness Day in the City of Surrey. Neighbourhood House Week. Whereas the Association of Neighbourhood Houses of BC opened their doors in Surrey to help create safe, inviting places where people from all backgrounds and walks of life are welcomed and included. And whereas the Alexander House in Surrey offers a range of services and support to strengthen communities by preventing social problems, become more socially aware, and encouraging participation. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Linda Hepner, do hereby declare May 7 through 13 as Neighbourhood House Week in the City of Surrey. Tzu Chi Day. Whereas the Buddhist Compassion Relief Tzu Chi Foundation originated in Taiwan and is one of the most active charitable organizations in the world, devoting itself to assisting people in need worldwide in the areas of charity, medicine, education, and humanistic. And whereas in celebration of the 25th anniversary of Tzu Chi Foundation Canada, Tzu Chi Foundation Canada cordially invites the citizens of Surrey to celebrate, participate, and to share with the genuine spirit of love and compassion of Tzu Chi. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Linda Hepner, do hereby declare May 14 as Tzu Chi Day in the City of Surrey. And finally, Cloverdale Rodeo and Exhibition Week, May 15 through 22. Whereas the Cloverdale Rodeo and Exhibition has been in existence since 1888, and whereas the sport of rodeo forms part of Canada's national heritage and has evolved from cowboys working with cattle and horses, and whereas the Cloverdale Rodeo and Exhibition encourages friendly competition, entertaining hundreds of families throughout the Lower Fraser Valley. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Linda Hepner, do hereby declare the week of May 15 through 22 as Cloverdale Rodeo and Exhibition Week in the City of Surrey. And I invite the citizens of Surrey and the Lower Fraser Valley to join in the celebration. And finally, National Missing Children's Month, May. Whereas Child Find British Columbia, a provincial member of Child Find Canada, is a non-profit registered charitable organization incorporated in 1984, and whereas the mandate of Child Find British Columbia is to educate children and adults about abduction prevention, to promote the awareness of the problem of missing children, and to assist in the location of missing children. And whereas Child Find has recognized green as the color of hope, which symbolizes a light in the darkness for all missing children. And whereas Child Find's annual Green Ribbon of Hope campaign will be held in the month of May, and May 25th is the National Missing Children's Day. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Linda Hepner, do hereby declare May 2017 as Child Find's Green Ribbon of Hope Month, and May 25 as National Missing Children's Day in the City of Surrey. I urge our citizens to wear a green ribbon as a symbol of hope for the recovery of all missing children, and to remain vigilant in our common desire to protect and to nurture the youth of our province. Moving on to corporate governmental reports. I believe we have one. Councillor Hayne.
Thanks very much, Madam Mayor. And I'm very pleased to announce that the Grandview Heights Aquatic Centre has won another award this year. You'll recall a few months ago that the facility won an international structural engineering award that won globally. And this most recent award is a Facility Excellence Award. It's very nice.
Oh, lovely.
Put that out there. That was presented to Ms. Laurie Cavan, our General Manager of Parks and Recreation, when she was at the BC Recreation and Parks Association. This is an excellence award for an outstanding facility across the province. And they went on to talk about the merits of the facility, including a demonstration of its accessibility, its outstanding innovation and creativity, and providing significant benefits and enhancement to the community for recreation. So I'd just like to congratulate our staff, both our parks and our planning and our senior management, for delivering a wonderful facility in South Surrey, and we're getting recognized for it nationally and across the province.
That's great. Thank you very much, Councillor. And it's particularly nice, I know, Laurie, for you when you're recognized amongst your peers as being in a city with such leading-edge facilities. So thank you very much for all of the work. And, Councillor, as the Chair of Parks, this really should belong in your office. But thank you very much. Appreciate that. And thank you for all the work your committee does for us. Moving on to corporate reports, Council.
Move Corporate Report R082, the designate for election to the Ecom Board and representative for the city related to the Ecom Annual General Meeting. And we've got Terry Waterhouse, our Director of Public Safety, as our designate.
Yes, Dr. Waterhouse, you've got a new job. Thank you. All those in favor?
We don't have a seconder, do we?
Second. Did somebody second? Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried.
Move Corporate R083, the Public Safety Strategic Initiative, the Yo Bro Yo Girl Youth Initiative, funding allocation of $50,000 per year over 3 years. And Madam Mayor, if I may, I just wanted to recognize Councillor Mary Martin's contribution to this particular effort. So.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for that recognition. And this is a fabulous program, and it was well received as we went about doing our public safety strategy outreach program. So I appreciate that. Is it on the floor, Councillor?
Second.
Seconded. All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried.
Move Corporate Report R084, award of contract for the 2016 sanitary sewer upgrade works package to the Grade X construction in the amount of $1,483,936.13.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move Corporate Report R085, the award of contract for 80th Avenue Archera Road widening from 128 to 132nd to Uriva, British Columbia, in the amount of $3,997,253.01.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried.
Move Corporate Report R086, award of contract to for the Lower Bon Accord Creek Restoration and Pedestrian Bridge to Mission Contracting in the amount of $693,051.86.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move corporate part R087, closure of road allowance adjacent to 17710 56A Avenue and 17735 56 Avenue.
Second.
In favor? In opposition? Carried.
Move corporate part R088, award of contract to for the 2017 school and sidewalk and traffic calming to Jack Q Limited in the amount of $2,528,400.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move corporate part R089, acquisition of property at 14082 106 Avenue for the 105 Avenue Connector project and park purposes in the amount of $3,425,000.
Second.
In favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move corporate part R090, late grant application for the Volunteer Cancer Driver Society in the amount of $3,500.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move corporate part R091, the 2016 annual financial report. Madam Mayor, if I may,
as the Chair of Finance,
as
you
Chair
should
of Finance,
make a comment on this.
Just wanted to really recognize the strong financial position. We were successful in increasing both our reserves as well as our capital investments in 2016, and just really wanted to recognize the audit, the successful audit we had with no qualifications. So I think staff did an exceptionally great job, and really proud of what the city's accomplished over the years. So thank you.
Well done, and well done, Mr. Chair. I need a seconder.
I did. Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move corporate part R092, the Museum of Surrey construction closure.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. I understand we'll be doing some outreach programming for the museum while we're under the aggressive construction schedule to get this new museum addition up and running. Okay, thank you.
Move corporate part R093, the naming of the plaza, the Civic Plaza.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move corporate part R094, the sport tourism grants for 2017.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. And could we change that sport tourism brochure to properly reflect Mayor and Council? And when we're if we utilize it out in the public arena now?
Madam Mayor, we do have an updated one. I think it was referencing a previous plan in the report,
Yes.
but we do have a current one with current Mayor and Council.
Just noticed when I was reading that. Yeah, thank you.
Madam Mayor.
Move corporate part R095, the South Campbell Heights land use plan update.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move corporate part R096, the proposed text amendments to the Surrey's OCP plan.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Business arising, H1.
Move third on H1, Madam Mayor.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Also on one, Madam Mayor, move that Council support the issuance of DVP 7916-0014800 upon final adoption of the related bylaw.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move third on two.
Second.
Those in favor? Opposed?
Is that number 3?
3.
Number two.
Two.
No, number 2.
Carried.
Move third on three.
Second.
All those in favor? Councillor Woods.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. I'm not going to be supporting this application here. My concern is the lack of replacement trees that were proposed to be planted. We're losing a significant amount of trees in that area there, canopy, and I would really like to have seen more trees proposed to be planted. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor. All those in favor? In opposition?
Opposed.
Opposed? And that's carried.
Move third on four, Madam Mayor.
Second.
All those in favor? Councillor Woods, you speaking to four?
My same submission is with regards to number 4, none of replacement trees being planted. I'm going to oppose. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Councillor. Councillor Starchuk on 4.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just had a question. I didn't ask it earlier, so maybe I can ask it of staff. With regards to the RF lots, do they mimic or mirror what's on 128A?
Mr. Planner, the eastern lots, the 128A ones, and then...
Yes, they do, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you.
They mirror, yes. All those in favor? Opposed?
Opposed, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. That's carried.
Also on 4, Madam Mayor, move that Council support the issuance of DVP 7916-036900 upon final adoption of the related bylaw.
Seconder?
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed?
Opposed.
Carried.
Move third on 5.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move third on 6.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Also on 6, move that the Council support the issuance of DVP 7916-016100 upon the final
Second.
upon the final adoption of the related bylaw.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
On 7, move third.
Second.
Councillor Woods.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I'm also going to be opposing this application. Again, a significant amount of trees being removed and not that many being replanted. There's 71 being replanted. I'd like to have seen more replants happen. Also, the school in that particular area, Pacific Heights, is already on overload, so there's not the infrastructure. Do not support. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor. All those, Councillor LaFranc?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On that one, I'm just going to echo Councillor Woods. I'm a little bit concerned about the tree loss and also the number of students going into an already very overloaded school system, so I'm not going to support this application.
Thank you. All those in favor of number 7? Opposed?
Opposed.
Opposed.
Opposed. Thank you. Carried.
Also on 7, move that Council support the issuance of DVP 7916-031200 upon the final adoption of the related bylaw.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed?
Opposed.
Carried.
Move third on 8.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move third on 9.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move that also on 9, move that Council support the issuance of DVP 7916-028300 upon the final adoption of the related bylaw.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move third on 10.
Second.
All those, Councillor Hain.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I wanted to speak to this one because I think this is a significant project for City Centre, being that it's a purpose-built rental facility. And when you look at the architectural drawings of this, it certainly is a beautiful building as well. Now, I realize and I respect my colleagues' comments about the lack of amenity space, the indoor amenity space. But with the contribution to the Indoor and Outdoor Amenity Fund and making this a viable rental project, I think that there was a lot of thought that went into the indoor amenity space that is being provided and coupling that with the outdoor space on the building. So I am very supportive of this and appreciative that we're going to get that many new purpose-built rentals in the city, because for too long the de facto rental stock in the city is basement suites, and we really need to provide our community with alternatives to that. I mean, they've been great and they work for many people, but they don't work for some. So I'm grateful to see a purpose-built rental facility in City Centre. I'll be supporting it.
Thanks, Councillor. Councillor LaFranc.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm also delighted to see some rental stock and some high-quality rental stock coming into the city. I am a little bit concerned about the amenity space deficit. It's 20,000 almost square feet, and that's significant for that neighborhood. And I think that the amount that we are getting in return would not even pay for a quarter of that to be built. So I think that needs to be said here, that the deficit is not just a deficit for that community, but also a deficit for the entire city. And so I'm also going to support this project, but I'm wondering if we could also have a housing agreement, because there's nothing that says this particular property couldn't be turned into rental as soon as it was built. And so given the shortfall in amenity spaces and given, the relaxation on parking, and we will have a restrictive covenant on parking, but is it possible also to get a housing agreement? I understand that there's some sensitivity to, not being able to use the property in the way that you might want to, but I think it does protect it into the long term. So that would be my recommendation.
Well, that would have to come that would have to come, I'm not even sure where. So just give me a minute till we're finished here. Councillor Woods.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. I just want to be clear here on, we're back to the strata, back to turning this building into possibly condos. I just want to be clear here. So if the building was to be built, or was built, and then the developer decided, and it wasn't occupied, and the developer decided to sell the units instead of rent them, that could proceed and not have to come back before council. Okay. That's correct?
Yes. That was my understanding, is that is correct. As soon as it becomes rental building, then it would have to come back before council before it could be stratified.
Okay.
Unless I'm wrong, Mr. City Solicitor.
No, you're correct.
Thank you. I always like to be correct.
Just hang on to this. John.
Madam Mayor, a slight nuance. So, for example, this could be a rental building. The developer could stratify it, then lease the apartments at a later stage, and later on sell those units because they would have been stratified. That would not need to come back to council because it would have been stratified before it's occupied. If it's occupied, then it has to come back for council's review. But if it hasn't been occupied,
if it's occupied in a non-stratified state.
That is correct.
That correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And that is the intention of this application?
Madam Mayor, our understanding is currently the applicant was not proposing to entertain a housing agreement.
How would it be non-stratified then? In the absence of a housing agreement, how would we, as council, ensure it's going to be a rental building?
You would have to have a housing agreement, Madam Mayor.
It would have to, okay.
Yeah, okay.
So then we're back to your addendum. Okay.
Madam Mayor?
Is that good, Councillor Woods?
Yes, I'm in firm agreement if this building is for a rental. I wholeheartedly agree with Councillor Haynes' comment, but I also share Councillor LaFranc's concern.
Then, Councillor LaFranc, would you like to, is it on the floor? Did you put it on, is it on the floor?
I didn't put it on the floor.
I would
Madam
second
Clerk,
that.
Is it on the floor?
I'll put it on the floor then, to add a housing agreement to this development application.
Okay. So now, speaking to the housing agreement as an addendum to the third reading with that proviso. Councillor Gill.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Madam Mayor, I think what's important tonight is that the project itself receive third. I think that between third and final, there's still going to be an opportunity for staff to work with the applicant and kind of refine what those issues may be. And I think that given where we are at, there may be no liberties now to speak to the applicant, but certainly between third and final, we'll have that opportunity and have those choices in front of us prior to having final being granted.
Can I get a nod? I saw one going one way and one going the other.
Through you, Madam Mayor, staff would require direction and a motion from council for a housing agreement.
For the housing agreement.
Yes, pursuant to the legislation.
Tonight, yes. Mr. City Manager.
Madam Mayor.
That's my understanding too, although council would have to also give guidance on the length of time it's seeking for that housing agreement, because that's also a very...
And may we give the applicants the application third reading tonight and determine that process prior to a final? Or is that too far down the road? Well, the
Mayor,
applicant is certainly getting the hint that we want this to be a rental building.
Madam Mayor, you can give direction through a motion for staff to draft a housing agreement with the applicant that could be received by council before final reading, and you could grant third reading tonight should you wish to.
Okay, so we could do that by way of instruction tonight. I'll call the question on third reading, and then we'll have a subsequent motion that before final bring back a housing agreement
That's correct.
to this council. So first I'm calling the question on third. All of those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Now, Councillor LaFranc, you're making a motion relative to seeing a housing agreement on the floor of council prior to this application receiving final.
Yes, I just need one point of clarification, though. Generally speaking, we usually do a housing agreement of 20 years. It doesn't necessarily need to be 20 years in this case, so it could be a shorter term, 5 to 10 years. So
I'm sure there will be a conversation with the applicant on what is possible, given whatever the financial implications are too as well.
Right.
So we expect to we'll hear all of that.
I'll make the motion that we ask staff to develop a housing agreement for this application.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Opposed?
Contrary.
And that's contrary? Okay, that's carried. Moving on. Number 8.
So we're on number 11.
No,
Madam
we're
Mayor.
on 11 already.
Move
Sorry, I'm
third.
on the wrong page.
Move third on 11, Madam Mayor.
Thank
Second.
you. All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried.
On 11, Madam Mayor, also that move that council support the issuance of DVP 7915022200 upon final adoption of the related bylaw.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
On 12, move that the mayor and clerk be authorized to execute DVP 7916007900.
Second.
In favor? In opposition? Carried.
On 13, move that the mayor and clerk be authorized to execute DVP 7916049800.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
On 14, move that the mayor and clerk be authorized to execute DVP 7917012700.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried.
On 15, move that the mayor and clerk be authorized to execute DVP 7917008300.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
On 16, move that the mayor and clerk be authorized to execute DVP 7917013200.
Second.
In favor? Opposed? Carried.
On 17, move that the mayor and clerk be authorized to execute DVP 7917007600.
Second.
In favor? Opposed? Carried.
On 18, move that the mayor and clerk be authorized to execute DVP 7917001800.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
On 19, move that the council support the issuance of DVP 7916015901. If supported, the DVP will be brought forward for issuance and execution in conjunction with the final adoption of the related bylaw.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
On 20, move that the council support the issuance of DVP 7916033300.
Second.
All those in favor? Councillor Starchuk? I have you on the speaker list.
We do have a piece of correspondence that's on the table, and it makes comment about the vehicle access as to whether it's going to be off of 128th or if it was going to be from a multi-use pathway that was there. I've looked at the plan myself, and I can't tell where Lot 7, although the correspondence worries about half acre, the actual size of the lot is over a half an acre, so now it's just about access.
Staff respond to the access inquiry.
Madam Mayor, access to the properties would be via 127th Avenue from future cul-de-sac that's to be constructed.
127th.
From, I'm sorry, could you repeat where the access for Lot 7 will be?
My apologies. I thought you were referring to the larger subdivision. For specific to lot 7, it would be from 128.
Okay, thank you. And it would not be using the walkway dedication. It would be just straight off of 128?
That is my understanding, Councillor.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay.
Yep.
Calling the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
On 21, move final adoption of the Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Facilities Regulation bylaw.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move final adoption on 22 is for the general rates levy bylaw.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed?
On
Carried.
23, move final adoption on the special rates levy bylaw.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed?
On
Carried.
24, move final adoption on the roads and traffic safety levy bylaw.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Final adoption 25 on the MBRD tax requisition bylaw.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
On 26, move final adoption on the Surrey development cost charge bylaw.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move final adoption on 27.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move final adoption on 28.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
On 29, move first.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move second.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
And Madam Mayor, on table it says that we're going to move public hearing on May 29th on item number 29.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
On item number 30, move that council request to file bylaw number 18797.
Second.
All those in favor of filing? Opposed? Carried.
On 31, move that the mayor and clerk be authorized to execute DPP 7917001600.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Parking patrol appointments. I have a motion.
I'll move that Ravneet Singh is hereby appointed as the parking patroller for the city of Surrey.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? And I'm sure Mr. Singh will be happy. Carried.
Madam Mayor, on number 2, it should read 2018 council meeting schedule, so I'll move that.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
And finally, on 3, move the FCM board appointment to permit Councillor Barbara Steele to attend.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? And Barbara is appointed. Thank you.
I wish.
Or at least standing for election. Okay, any notice of motion, councillors? Or any other business? Councillor Starchuk?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. At our last council meeting on April 24th, we defeated development variance permit 7917012900, and since that time I've received some feedback and I've done a little bit of digging myself with regards to where the proposal was sent back. I've looked at the letters that we have received in the negative fashion, and in fact some of them were asking what this applicant offers that is somewhat different, and I've found that there's no methadone dispensing, that they're focusing on home care visits. They're also providing pharmacy and patient care for local senior residential care facilities. With regards to this application, it seems, well, it is obvious in this case that in September of 2014 that the City of Surrey processed a zoning inquiry for the pharmacy, and that the bylaws person that was there drove around and found out there were not any pharmacies within 400 meters of this location. And then shortly after that, the end of October, they applied and paid for a business license for the pharmacy, signed a contract for 5 years. And at that time, there was no other applications that were in front of them that put them in that 400-meter distance that was there. It is because that during the building time and the permit that was required to do the fire separations took a little bit more time, 2 more years more time to get it to the point that it was at, that the delay in that part actually had other pharmacies that came into that effect and then became within the 400-meter area that was there. So it's a little bit unfair in the sense that they were the first applicant that was in the queue, and yet we had sent it back because it appeared at the time when we were sitting that they were in fact the third one, when in fact they were actually the first one. So at this point, Madam Mayor, I'd like to bring back development variance permit 7917-012900 for consideration.
I would second that motion.
She got caught up in non-conformity of his own making. Okay, so it's on the floor for revisiting. I will call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay.
With regards to then the actual development permit, I would then move that we, where is that wording? That we actually process and approve development permit 7917012900.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Any other new business?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Councillor Woods?
Under other business, ma'am?
Yes.
Very good. Tonight, I opposed 3 applications because the amount of trees that were being removed. And I did some math based on what was in the package here, and the amount that were recommended to be removed was 393 on all the public hearing motions and applications, and the planting was at 114 replacement trees. So I would like to know, Madam Mayor, a bit of a report card on this as to where we are as a city with the amount of trees that we're approving to be removed and the amount of trees that we are planting or intend to plant. And I'd like to ask the General Manager of Planning if we could get a report on 2016 and the year 2017 so far.
So the deficit between the trees that are being removed and the trees that we're planting, how are we making up that deficit within the city? So and I would suggest we could go back further than the last 2 years even. Yeah, if we could have a historical accounting of our tree planting.
I would really appreciate that, Madam Mayor. I'm constantly being challenged about this tree issue, and I would just like to make sure I have my facts straight. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anything else, councillors?
Move adjournment.
Second.
All those in favor, opposed, and we are